Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be making this cute little heart pouch. It is a reusable valentine, so you can customize them however you want, and then they open up and you can fill them with your Valentine's Day treats. So let's rewind to this morning and get started on making one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up some, but I'm starting with just a big piece of paper and putting it, kind of folding it over so that there's a fold to cut against. And here I'm measuring out a square that is 4 inches wide by 6 inches long. And that's about the size that I want half of my heart to be. So I'm measuring that all out, and then I'm going to go ahead, you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to measure down from that top 1.5 inches, and that's where I want the curve of the heart to start. And just drawing a heart shape onto this paper. It might take a couple of times to get it just the way you want it, but I am cutting that out then, and I'm going to, after I cut it out once, trace it and cut it out 2 more times. So you need 3 hearts that are pretty much identical as you are making your pattern, and they can be any size you want. They can be longer or fatter or however you want to draw your heart, depending on what you're using it for. So once I have those all traced, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. So you can see here that I have 3 hearts that are pretty much identical. 2 of them are going to become the back, and I'm measuring up 3 inches from the bottom and making a mark on both of those. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure up 1/2 inch on one and draw a line the whole way across. And that is going to be the bottom, so it's going to be 1/2 inch taller than that midpoint. And the other one I'm going to measure up 3 inches and then measure down 1/2 inch, so it's going to be 3 inches below that midpoint, and I'm going to cut those. So there's the top portion of the back and the bottom portion of the back, and you'll be able to see I can lay them all together, and there is an overlap between the top and bottom on the back. So now that I have my pattern pieces cut out, I've gathered up just some bits and pieces of interfacing and my fabric, and I'm just figuring out how I can make these pattern pieces fit on the iron-on interfacing, because I'm just, like I said, I'm using up scraps. So I'm going to go ahead and trace around all 3 of those pattern pieces for the heart, and I'm going to, as I'm cutting it out, try to cut just slightly on the inside of that line, because I don't really want my interfacing to be bigger than my fabric pieces if I can avoid it at all. So I have my pieces here with the interfacing laid on top of them, and I'm waiting for the iron to warm up, and then we're going to go ahead and attach these. And then I brought in my pinking shears, and I'm going to go ahead and pink the edges, and that's just going to help the edges not to fray at all, since they will be exposed on the inside of the pouch. So I did the edges on all of these after I attached the interfacing, and you can see the edges there have that zigzag on them, but I hardly cut anything off. This is what got cut off, so it was just the very, very edge, just to make sure that it wasn't going to fray once I sewed it together. So now we're going to go back to the sewing machine. So I just finger pressed over a really narrow hem on both of the half pieces for the back of the heart, and I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch that down. Okay, so that is done. I stitched that edging down and cut my threads, and so now I'm going to take this and do it right sides together. I'm going to set our full heart down and then line the top piece up on top of it, and the bottom piece as well. Line that up and get it all clipped in place. And now that it is all pinned together, you can see the overlap here. I'm going to go ahead and just stitch the whole way around here in probably, I think I have my machine at a 3/8 inch seam allowance right now, so probably this or a little bit bigger maybe. So I'm doing 3/8 of an inch. That seemed like plenty, but you want to make sure that as you go across all of these layers that you don't miss anything or they don't get pulled out of whack, so go really slow over that portion. And when you get to the end here, instead of going the whole way across, of course, you're going to get kind of close. Make sure the needle is inserted and then turn it. Whoops, I can go about another stitch. So put it back down and just manually go another stitch or two and then turn it so that it's lined up again and keep going. We're back to the next section where there are a lot of layers. And so again, we're going to go really slow over here. And usually when you're sewing something like this, you would have to leave a gap to turn, but we have this, so you don't need to leave any gap as you sew around the edge of your part. Oops, okay, so that is all sewn together, and actually I probably could have done a more narrow stitch, but it is what it is for now. If I do another one, maybe I'll do it less. But it's stitched the whole way around, back stitched on both ends, and the threads are trimmed. And so I'm just going to cut away this little tip on the end so that it's not bulky whenever I go to turn it. So like that. And then I'm going to turn it right side out. Push all of the edges out as I go. Oops, I think we need to trim just a little bit more in this center at the middle of the heart. It's not wanting to lay right there, so I'm gonna trim out a little bit of the bulk there, and then go ahead and finish turning it. I need to decide whether I want to top stitch this or leave it as is, but I think leaving it as is going to be the best bet. So there is our heart. You can do it any kind of shape you want, but that's what it's going to look like. It's going to open up there. It can get turned backwards so that it can sit open with the candy if you'd want to, or whatever you want to put in these. And they are reusable over and over again. So I think I'm going to make a bunch of these, and there's 10 of us in our family right now, and so I'll make at least 10, and we can set them beside our plate at our Valentine's Day dinner. We always have lasagna for Valentine's Day, and usually chocolate covered strawberries and that kind of thing. So I'll set that beside the plates for the kids, put some candy in them. And I think I'm going to make more though, because we are at the point in our lives where we are likely going to have sons-in-law and daughters-in-law joining our family in the not so distant future. And so while I'm at it, I may as well make a bunch of these. So I hope this inspires you to make your own reusable Valentines. And I would love to see your pictures if you want to tag me on Instagram or something like that if you do decide to make them. So thank you guys so much for being here and sticking around for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.